I've been part of a few societies, but I've also worked with a fair few of them. So in my first year, I joined cheerleading society, and I've never done cheerleading before. I saw it, I was like, I wonder if it's like what it is on all these TV programs. So I joined it. You didn't have to have any sort of talent. They did have competitive teams, but they also had a recreational team. So I joined that one. I went every Tuesday night. I think it was 6:30 or something, and 2 hours. And then they had a social every Wednesday. I did drop that, but that was only because of COVID, and they were dancing online, and I did not feel comfortable dancing in front of my computer screen. So I left that one. But just at the beginning of my second year, I actually co-founded the Criminology Society with a couple of law and criminology students, which I am now the president of. So we'll see how that goes next year. But it has meant that when the BCU-SU have been running all these panels of like opportunities and communities, I've sort of been involved in that a lot. So I've got to meet the president of the Yoga Society, the Earth Society, the Women's Society, the International Society, and sort of we feed back to one another and help each other sort of get members, because I think that's been the hardest thing with creating a society, is sort of getting the word out there and trying to get people to join, especially as when they hear like an academic society, they're like, I don't want to learn more about what I learn in school. And I'm like, it's not the same. Like, we do more interesting things. And unfortunately with COVID, we have been a bit restricted because we haven't been able to do many trips and things. But hopefully next year, fingers crossed, we'll be able to do a bit more. But the BCU SU as a whole is just a great way to make friends. As Josie said, with the pub, you meet so many different varieties of people in there, but they also are the people that sort of run like the criminology course reps or your course reps. So you get to meet a great group of people through there, and I've made a lot of friends through that, and we've also created a podcast together. So it's just sort of ways to meet connections, apart from the people that are on your course or if you live with people. Yeah, a great fun way, and they're always flexible. And I'm really busy as well because I have a part-time job, but depending on what you do in the society depends on how much time you need to give to it, and they're not really harsh unless you're on like the really competitive teams. Like, you don't have to go every week, and for the Criminology Society, for example, it's only £3 to join for the year, so it's not a massive commitment, but also a great way to meet people.
Right, over to you, Olivia.
Yeah, I didn't really join that many societies in my first year. I was on a fashion business course, so there wasn't even a fashion society initially until one of my friends created one. But yeah, I didn't really get involved, but that's one of the things that I probably regret doing, especially after hearing how it's helped the girls. I feel like I wish I kind of joined that and got involved with that. So yeah, I wish I did that. And now I think if I did it again, I definitely would have got involved with more societies. I think one of the great things that I did do, though, was become a student ambassador. I know we sort of touched on jobs a second ago. I think that's really allowed me to meet some really great people. And I'm glad that I did get involved with that. And also, obviously, it's a job as well, which is great. So yeah, I think working for the university was really, really beneficial for me, and like really gave me some amazing opportunities. But yeah, I wish I got involved with societies a little bit more.
Well, that's the thing, is that sometimes there's so much available then that you don't actually always know about it right away either, do you? So that's why a session like today is quite good to know those things. I definitely knew I wanted to join netball when I joined university, but I missed the trials because I didn't have any of that information. I turned up a day later than everybody else, so then I felt kind of out of loop. But then you know it the next year, and then you can catch up on those things. And then sometimes if you don't get involved in them, you can at least pass it forward to somebody else and say, you know, this is a great opportunity. Same with being a student ambassador. I think I only started doing it when I graduated, but it was a really great experience. So there's lots of different ways of definitely making friends. And then we've only really touched upon a few, haven't we? So we'll probably keep going on that front. So I think what we'll do, thanks for all of that on societies. We're going to have a question that's come in now. So someone's already thanking for the advice, but they've said that they're mainly worried about homesickness. So do you have any tips for that? I know we kind of, Caitlin very briefly touched upon it, so I don't know if you want to expand upon that, but I don't know if anybody else, because we've got quite a few people who have moved away from home. So does anybody want to go first with that? Again, we've had another question about homesickness, so yeah, it's quite a pertinent kind of question. Anybody want to kick us off in particular?
I'll happily go.
Thanks, Josie.
So I moved to the UK from Germany by myself when I turned 18. So that was absolutely terrifying, but probably the best thing I've done. And I think to anyone thinking about moving away from home, whether that's to a different country or within the UK, you should definitely do it. Because even homesickness aside, you will find out who you really are out of the context of your home. So outside of your parents and your friends from home, you'll figure out what is their influence and what you really are and who you are and what you actually like. And I think to me that was a great motivation while dealing with homesickness. And I would say the first 2 weeks of moving, I was so unwell. I was crying all the time. I would just a minor inconvenience, and I would just break down like that. Because I felt like I was so alone. No one likes me. It was absolutely scary. But then I was just actually thinking about it, and especially at uni, everyone is literally in the same situation. You are not the only one feeling lonely. You're not the only one feeling homesick, and there's so many people you can talk to about it. And Caitlin kind of suggested already, like, bring some things from home with you that make you feel at home, especially things of like senses, like if you take a candle that smells like home, or even if it's the same laundry liquid that your parents use that just smells like home, like these little things. Or I have this tapestry on my wall that I always had back at home, and whenever that is up, I'm like, I'm home now. And if you live in student halls, this little box of a room will become your safe space, and often it might get hard to actually leave that safe space. But yeah, you can decorate it as much as you want, obviously given the guidelines and rules. But yeah, you can really make it your own. And I think using things like that from home, smells and sights and pictures, that will just make you feel so much better. And I would also say don't go home all the time, because that's going to stop you from involving yourself and to actually become your own person, and it would just make everything harder. Like, I think like FaceTiming someone from home is great, but if you go home a lot, like every weekend, you will really, really struggle to make friends here. You'll really struggle even more with homesickness, and you won't be independent and do new student halls. So I would suggest fight through the initial scariness of homesickness and living a new life. And as soon as you fight through that, you're going to have the greatest time.
Thank you very much, Josie. That's some really, really good advice. Does anybody want to add to that at all?
Oh, yeah, I can go.
Yeah, great.
I think I'm also like I'm Italian, and I have moved to England like when I was 16, so it's been a few years now. But yeah, you kind of always have that homesickness when you want to see your friends and you want to see your family back home. But I think the best thing of living in the 21st century is like you have technology, and I call my family like almost every day, and we always have FaceTime, and I kind of like was there almost when my nieces were born. I was like on the phone right there looking, and it was great. So I think you will not you wouldn't really get homesick as much as you think you may in the end, because you can travel in the end like every once in a while. So it's great like that right now. But also for me, and I feel like most people like that, we come to university, like we make kind of a family here, like we are friends or we meet new people. I kind of like almost have aunties around here that I just met, and they just kind of took care of me. And you kind of make your second family where you are, and you end up loving them as well. You don't want to leave them. So you will learn to be by yourself and be independent and just be your own person aside from your family. And you will miss them, but I don't think you'll get used to it after a while. So like, do not get scared. Like, you definitely be good at being on your own after a while.
Yeah, You're right. And, there's a lot that is changing. It's not just moving away from home, it's living independently. So there's quite a lot of change anyway. If you were to move out and live by yourself, even in the same city, it's going to be quite a difference. And if you're kind of making new friends, there's quite a lot of things that are going on all at the same time. And you have to just recognise that there's quite a lot of adjustment, isn't there?